I think this will be good. Wait to get some people watching, and then we'll be on our merry way. Hey! Hey! We got 2 people! Sweet. Okay. Once we get a few more people watching, we'll get started. That's lovely. Got a free leaf with everything. Hello, hello. I've asked you a problem and you have replied me good. Okay. Alright, so we'll be looking at a X250. This isn't going to be much of a repair as much as it's just going to be putting this together. A viewer of mine sent this to me. He found it at a thrift store for a very good price. It's just missing a few parts, so we're going to put it all together. Hopefully. Ah, cool. Oh. There we go. Just put all the bubble wrap aside. A little bit dusty in here, but nothing too terrible. It's been a while since I've had a X200 series like that. I sold my X230 a while ago. So I ordered all the... Ooh! It's bent. Oh, hi there. It's a good thing we're replacing the screen. Just gonna bend that back into place, maybe? Yeah, the screen on this is cracked. I did know that much. Does not have a backlit keyboard or a fingerprint reader. It's a little bit disappointing, but it's fine. Yeah, this thing is like majorly bent. Wow. I hope that didn't happen in shipping, because that kind of sucks. What is your problem with it? Oh. So if you give me a moment here, we're gonna kind of... I'm gonna try and like bend this back into place, I guess. That's sad. Poor thing. Yeah, look at that. You can very clearly see that bend there. See, it's not as bad if I like put it up on here, but it's definitely noticeable. Just gonna give it a little push. Plastic's pretty pliable, right? Okay. It's not too horrendous. Alright, let's get the rest of the parts. So, this came with a drive caddy, which is good. I had a spare one all ready to go, but already has it, so we're good. Got a new screen for it. It's just the 1366-768 TN panel, because it's the one I have from when I upgraded the X240 way back when. I never used that panel, so it's going to go in here, because the screen in this one is very obviously cracked. And then we have some RAM, we have a battery, we have an SSD, 240 gig PNY SSD, and a new bought up case for it. I'm also going to repaste the processor while we're in here. So, how are you? I am great. I accidentally read X230, but it's X250, yeah. You have not replied me good. Huh. Message retracted. Huh. A lot of people messaging stuff. Let's see if I can adjust this. Where all of these leave things came from, and put those in the box here. Okay. Looks like somebody messed with the hinges in here at some point. Okay. So I'm just going to very quickly do some tidying up in here before we put this all back together. Maybe. 2.9 should be done. Should I buy a new battery 3+3 realistically? How long is battery life in 2020 since everything is heavier now? Good question. I don't know what laptop you're talking about, Jose. What laptop are you talking about? Okay. Make sure all these cables are connected properly. A few of them seem disconnected. I should also see if the thing actually works, but I think it does. Just haven't done anything with it. Does this battery have any charge left? Sometimes you get these and the batteries have a bit of charge. Okay, battery does not have charge. That's okay. You don't need the battery to have a charge for what we're doing. Alright, so what should I do first? What do you guys think? How about I repaste the processor? That would be a dandy thing to do, right? Let's get my last little bit of paper towel here. Some people don't like when you use paper towels to get rid of old thermal paste, but I haven't had any issues with it. So we're gonna get on here. Tape is getting stuck on there. Let's get the tape unstuck. There we go. And that is a very tiny little connector there. That is yuck. We'll just do that. I can just twist it back. That's crazy though. Just yeah, and then they somebody put thermal paste on there, but it's not even touching the heatsink because it's not. I don't think you're supposed to have thermal paste on there. I think that little sub die off to the side is not supposed to get paste because it doesn't connect with the heatsink. The guy who sent this to me may have actually repasted this because the paste seems pretty wet. It's not completely caked up and dried out. But I don't think you're supposed to put thermal paste because you see, well, you can't see. Can we make it so you can see? So you see, like there's an opening there in the heatsink, so it's almost as if you're not supposed to put paste there. But it's whatever. So we're just going to put paste right there. Right there. right there. That is way too much thermal paste. I know. I'm going to get a bunch of comments complaining about it. That's too much thermal paste. But that's what came out. These things are very finicky sometimes, so... Oh. And... paper towel decided to go flying. Too much thermal paste is better than not having enough. You are correct. I think. I believe. That's what I believe. So, I'm going to put the heatsink back on. Like that. Screw it down. We're going to screw with confidence, as The Verge likes to say. Wonder if any of you got that reference. Let me just get the power cable back in its little place. Okay, so that's the only real maintenance we had to do there. Just wanted to repaste that processor. Integrated 3-cell and 6-cell extended plus. Still don't know what. X250. Oh, okay. Not quite sure how much battery life you get, but these Ultrabook processors are pretty good at being power efficient. So. Oh. Oh. Okay, we're in for a pleasant surprise. So, I ordered one stick of DDR3L memory. 8GB DDR3L. They gave me 2. I ordered one stick and they gave me 2. I'm not going to complain about that. That makes the price I paid a lot better. Like, I mean, I paid about the market price for 8GB of DDR3L RAM, and they sent me 2 sticks. Okay. I don't know if they were supposed to do that or if I misread the listing, but I won't complain. That was a pleasant surprise. So now I have an extra DDR3L stick. Oh, it does say 2R times 8, so maybe that means 2 times 8GB. Okay. Be honest and return the second one. Well, I'm going to double check the listing, because on the invoice, it has the correct address and everything, and it does say that I ordered 2. So, I'll check the listing and see. I thought I only ordered 1. If I did actually order 2, then that's nice. That's a pleasant surprise, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they saw that it was Sebi from Sebi's Random Tech and decided to send me an extra one, like Lenovo did when Louis Rossmann broke his P50, and they overnighted him a box and then got the motherboard replaced in 2 days or whatever. I have searched you GitHub page. Is Hamish Coleman in this? Yeah, 8GB. I just put 8GB in here because I'm like, 4 gigs is too little. I think the X250 takes 16 gigs. I don't remember, though. Whatever. What was the next thing I had to do? Oh yeah, replace the display. We're going to do that while this is apart, because you can just disable the display, or sorry, you can just disable the internal battery in the BIOS, and this okay, that's why you don't do that. I just tried to use my screwdriver to get the cable out, and I think I just nicked it in the process. Let me get something a little duller. Something that's there. Plastic pencil. Because I literally just cut my fingernails, and I'm not going to trust them with trying to get this battery thing out. See, I do what you're not supposed to do. That's what makes this channel special. There we go. I just don't want that in. You can disable the internal battery in the BIOS when you're replacing the screen or something like that, but I don't trust it. So also, wait, where's the battery going here? The CMOS battery. This is stuff that you should probably know, but don't know. Where does the CMOS battery go? Because I don't see a connector for it. Looks like it plugs in there. But something is plugged in there. Okay, we're not going to place the display dish yet. We're going to investigate what this mysterious cable is. It's probably just another battery. Okay. Unscrew that. Just put that there. Put that there. Oh, it's chilling down there. Is that where the CMOS battery is supposed to go? How much did you pay? Honestly, I've not. Or for the RAM, are you talking about? Also, is that where the CMOS... Let's consult the service manual, because that seems like a really sketchy place to have the CMOS battery. X250 service manual. I'm going to do a Control F for CMOS battery. Because that just seems like, I mean, I don't see anywhere else where the battery could go, but that just seems like a very strange place to have a CMOS battery. It's like kind of lodged underneath the... How much did I pay for the X250? I paid like 40 some bucks for it. But then I paid another like $80 worth of parts for it, so in the end I'm paying like $120 for it. Guess you could say. I'm just going to set you right there while this PDF loads. I just want to make sure that the CMOS battery is supposed to be there, because I don't see anywhere else where it could go, but it just seems like an odd place to have it underneath the internal battery. Yep. Coin. Okay, it is in the right place. Cool. It just seems like such a weird place to have it, under the CMOS battery. And then there's this other little thing here, which looks like it would be a smart card reader of some sort. But I'm curious. I wonder if that's that thing that lets you put a M.2 SSD in here, because that would be kind of awesome. But it's kind of lodged under there. Can we get it out? Because it doesn't look like there's a... Or maybe, nah, that's just the smart card reader. Look at me being stupid. What is your favorite ThinkPad? That's an excellent question. I'm spending $80 worth of parts on my T21. That is commitment, my friend. $80 on a... How old is the T21? that came out in like what, 2001, 2, something like that. So it's like almost 20 years old. That is commitment, and I commend you for that. Okay, so we have the CMOS battery thing figured out. He gave me an extra one for some reason. I don't know if the one inside is bad, or if he replaced it and decided to give me the old one for kicks. But I'm just going to put you back in here. Put the screws in so you don't go anywhere. And then we'll replace the screen. I hope the screen's okay. I've kind of carried the screen around with me to school and back a few times, and I wonder if the original display broke because the machine is bent. Because it is pretty... I mean, this is a pretty flimsy chassis, so maybe it just, you know, I don't know. We're gonna just do that. Now, if I remember correctly, you can just kind of... I'm just gonna be safe. Bezel. Oh, there's 31 results for that. Zoinks. Okay, it just says to do that. It literally just says do that. So we're gonna do that. I think you're supposed to take the assembly off when you do this, but... Or, yeah, you're supposed to take the assembly off when you do this, but... I know it can be done without removing the display assembly, so we're just gonna wing it. See, the X240, X250, X260, they do things the right way. The display bezel is just a piece of plastic. On the T440, T450, all those ThinkPads, the display bezel is literally a piece of plastic. And so, or not a piece of plastic, it's a sticker. There we go. It's a sticker, so you have to basically get a new sticker if you want to replace the screen. And I really should have done this repair before I cut my fingernails, because it makes it that much harder for me to peel off this tape. Okay. Old screen. Very clearly bent. I guess before we put the new screen in, we should double check that the entire assembly isn't warped. It is a little bit warped. I'm just gonna carefully bend it back into place, because it's otherwise fine. Like, there's no big cracks in it that I can see. But it's still a little bit bent. See, I want to give enough pressure that it bends back into place, but I don't want to give enough pressure that it breaks. It's a fine line. If I do break this, that'll make for a very fun video. I can add it to the list of Sebi's random fails. That's better. Sorry that you guys don't have a better view. There's really no good place for me to put my phone. I am just using my phone to do this live stream, so, you know. I think that's good. It's pretty flat. It's pretty flat. That's good enough. So now we'll get the quote-unquote new display, which is not really new. It's just the old display from a X240, and we will plug in that little connector. Put you in there, and we should be good. It's kind of funny. It tells you how to take the bezel off, but it does not tell you how to put the bezel back on in the hardware maintenance manual. It's kind of amusing. So, I guess Lenovo doesn't want people to put their own bezels back on. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of all the laptop repair companies. And here's the part where I hope I put the bezel on right because I don't want to take this apart again. Once again, I apologize for not really getting a good view, but I want to make sure I do this right, and I'm not going to mess something up just for the sake of giving you guys a good view. You know. I think I did that right. Don't know, don't care. We're at that level. Oops. And look at that, we made a mistake. Not really a mistake, but mistake has been corrected. One of the cables that goes through the hinges of the display was not behaving, and so it was causing some minor annoyances. Do you guys want a better view? Here, I'll give you a better view. Just kinda... There's no lead in this pencil, I'm just using it to guide the snaps into place. These snaps at the bottom are the ones that are really hard, because they have a tendency of not going where they're supposed to. There we go. Now we're rolling. I know this is a boring live stream, guys. Watch Sebi struggle to get a bezel in. Sebi's random struggles with bezels. That has a nice ring to it. Sebi's random struggles with display bezels. Okay. So they're all in correctly, but right here on the end it's popping out. So is that a cable that's in there the wrong way? Let's consult our service manual. It could be. I would say the touchpad on this is pretty worn out, but the keyboard's in pretty good shape. I wonder if this was replaced at some point. Was replaced on the team. Yeah, I know. I talked about that. The T450S screen is a royal pain in the rear. Royal pain in the rear. Okay, so right here, there's a part of the bezel that's not cooperating. Actually, I think I just found the culprit. There's a tiny little... Okay, let's not do that. Okay. Yeah, I found the culprit. One of the cables was not in where it was supposed to be. That would definitely cause things to not work right. I think I just fixed it. Yeah, this bottom part of the bezel is always the most irritating part, because it just does not like to cooperate. Alright. There we go. It's in! Yay! Look at that, we fixed it. There we go. I'm not quite sure what that was, or why that was being finicky, but it was being finicky, and we just unfinicked it. We gave it, we showed it its place. There we go. Ta-da! Displays it. So, sorry that you couldn't really see most of that, but basically I'll explain. So, here on the bottom, so normally they actually tell you to, take the entire display assembly out if you're going to replace the screen, but it can be done with the bottom half of the laptop attached. It's just a little bit more difficult. And there's several snaps that kind of tuck in under this little lip here. And when you're putting the bezel back on, it's very easy for them to not line up. So sometimes it takes a bit of finagling to get them working correctly. But we have display in. Yay. So we can plug the battery back in, even though it's dead. Okay, battery's back in. Next thing is SSD. So I got a PNY 240 gig SSD, just bought this from Best Buy because I didn't feel like waiting a whole whopping 2 days for it to Amazon Prime here. That is the one convenience of a brick-and-mortar store compared to online. Don't have to wait for them to ship it to you. And the price of this was comparable to a similar SSD off of Amazon, so only real expense I paid was the cost of gas to drive over there. Aw, darn it. So, PNY, with their CS900 SSDs, they used to include a spacer, because this is a 7mm drive, but older hard drives are 9.5mm, so if I put these next to each other, you can see that the hard drive is a hair thicker. PNY used to include a spacer with their SSDs, so that if you had a thicker caddy, this would fit correctly in it. But it appears that PNY has saved themselves an extra penny, and they are no longer including a spacer with their 2.5-inch SSDs. That's a little bit disappointing. If I do say so myself, that is disappointing. So, now we're just going to get our drive caddy out of here. Thankfully, the T440, X240, X250, etc. caddies don't really care about how thick the drive is. But if this were a T430, T420, one of those older ThinkPads, those caddies do kind of not fit correctly if you, whoopsies, if you have a thinner drive. But in here, the way it's designed, you don't need to have a spacer for it to fit correctly. So we're just gonna plug, can you even see what I'm doing? No, you can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. Put the free RAM out of the way. So, I don't really like this design of having the... Okay, I like and I don't like the whole having the SATA port as a separate thing from the motherboard. It's nice because that's like one less thing that can break, I guess. But it's not nice because it's finicky sometimes. Alright, so our SSD is in. Screw the drive back in. Alright, and I'm just going to check something here real quick before I put this all back together. Nope. Here, looking at the service manual. Just making sure I put the drive in correctly. Okay. Because I wasn't sure if this cable was like supposed to go under something or not, but no, it just kind of chills there. So, I think it's all good. Now, is there anything else I had to put in here? Because the worst thing you can do with these is to put it all back together and then realize you have to take it apart again. But I think we're good. So... now we get our new bottom cover, which hopefully doesn't smell like cigarettes. Okay, it does not. Many times I've ordered replacement parts off of eBay for laptops, and they come reeking with the smell of nicotine. And I have to spend, like, way too much time washing them to get rid of the smell. Because, I mean, I don't really like the smell, and I don't think someone buying this laptop would want it to smell like nicotine. So, alright, there's the... Good, it does not smell like drugs. New bottom cover. It's in reasonable shape. Has all the screws. Gucci Gucci. So the only other thing I'm looking at here is when you take the... I don't like the positioning of these cables. I don't think these cables are supposed to be on top of the hinge. I think they're supposed to be underneath the hinge, but I want to double check before I put this all back together. I just want to make sure everything is wired up correctly. And you know what? I am looking here, and I think... I don't know. It actually is supposed to go, like, over top of the hinge, it looks like. At least that's what it looks like in the diagram. Doesn't say anything about it. Huh, that's interesting. Huh, alright. I guess without further ado, we're going to put the bottom cover back on. And hopefully not break anything in the process. Okay. So I think we just have to tighten the screws and then we should be good to go. Put the battery in, of course. So, sorry this has been a more boring live stream than some other ones, but, you know, it's just mostly just me checking to make sure everything is in the way it's supposed to be before I put it all back together. Yeah, this bottom cover is in decent shape. It has a little bit of wear to it, but this whole laptop has some weathering that has occurred, so I don't really mind. So the last thing we have to put in is the battery, which is right in here. Looks like the right one. Yep, it's the right one. Huzzah. We have a laptop. With a few stickers on it, but we have a laptop. Do I have my... I do have my glass cleaner. But I have to get more paper towels. So... But there's a laptop. Yay! Laptop. That is back together, I think. For some reason, one of the clips is being finicky. Maybe I forgot to tighten that screw. Or I didn't tighten it enough. Yeah, I forgot to tighten that screw. Oopsies. You know, sometimes you just get so excited and forget to do stuff. There we go. In Arkansas, there is a computer store at our outlet center. I bought a FX something system. Am I wrong? Looks to be in pretty rough shape. The camera makes it look worse than it actually is. Like, this is actually in decent shape for the most part now that we have the new screen in. Like, the keyboard's not that worn out. Touchpad I might look into replacing because it is pretty worn. And part of the sticker's peeling up. I actually might just replace the sticker. There's some scratches on the back here, but it's a ThinkPad. It's gonna get those eventually. But, like, it's in decent shape. Like, this is something that I would call passable. What about the built-in battery? I have no idea, to be honest. We're going to find that out. Okay. So, external battery doesn't have a charge either. So what I'm going to do here, well, I'm going to get a charger. Anybody in the streaming audience into musical theater? Because I have a musical theater song stuck in my head. It's Midnight Waltz, I think, from Little Night Music. Alright, we got 3 lights. We got a green light. And we have ThinkPad. Yay! Alright. So this has a Core i5-5300U. We have 8 GB of RAM. And 2015 BIOS, so it's an older BIOS, but that's okay. System clock is more or less accurate. Doesn't have a fingerprint reader, that's okay. Security chip, everything's good. Doesn't look like we have CompuTrace or anything on here. Enabled but not activated. That's good. Okay. So, we're just gonna shut the system down. And I have a flash drive here with Windows 10 on it. That's the operating system we will be installing. I know it's not everyone's favorites, but this is a laptop that is going to be sold, so pretty sure the user wants Windows. But first I'm going to get some paper towels. I'm just going to wipe down everything. So I'm going to depart from the room for a brief moment so I can get more of those oh-so-lovely disposable paper towels that seem to be all the fuss nowadays. Okay. Whoops. And we are back with the paper towel. Yay. I'm just going to put all that on the ThinkPad. It's going to be great. What can you find in the old stock condition? Oh, the batteries. Yeah. I've seen a ton of those internal batteries on eBay. They're definitely not difficult, or yeah, they're definitely not difficult to find, I would say. Alright. See if I can get these stickers off of here. And you can't even see what I'm doing. Let's change that. Without knocking over the camera. Okay, so right now I'm just peeling off these stickers, which... Okay, so they're leaving some residue, but that's not terrible. Just a couple extra seconds of work on my part. I've basically completely dulled the tip of this old pencil, so that's what I'm using to get the adhesive coming off, because I just cut my fingernails, so they won't dig into this at all. There we go. Okay, this one was a lot cleaner. Look at that. Okay. Left some adhesive at the very end, but that's okay. Okay, now this is starting to become more of an annoyance. That's okay. Just gives us more time to spend with each other, you know? Quality time. Look at that, my flash drive is useful for something. Yay. This is not the best way to get rid of an adhesive, but it works. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do that. What I usually do with adhesive, honestly, especially if it's just plastic or whatever, I just kind of rub my fingers in. Actually, I should have done that before I sprayed Windex on. There, we'll just do that. But if I rub my thumb back and forth, it loosens the adhesive and rips it up to the point that it just comes off. So, if you ever have adhesive that's sticking to something, just rub your finger across. Like that. And the adhesive will start to come up in clumps, and eventually you'll get it all off. And you might warm up your fingers in the process. So on a cold winter night, this is a great way to keep your fingers warm, you know? Now, as for what looks like adhesive residue here, so if you look here, you can kind of see the outline of where the sticker was, and you might think that's leftover adhesive or something. Unfortunately, that is not. This is actually, so all of the plastic or material, rubber, whatever, around here has faded from mostly sunlight exposure and everything. These little bits under the sticker have not, because they had a sticker on them. So that little square is never coming out. And it's even more prominent if you have a metal enclosure. Like, I was working on a Dell XPS 15 that had a bunch of stickers on it, and I got all the stickers off, but you could kind of still see the outlines of where everything was, because, well, the rest of the metal had faded from sunlight exposure, and that little bit that was, or those bits that were covered by stickers, did not get exposed to sunlight. I think I said that right. I can't multitask very well. I'm trying to talk and wipe this down, and it's not working. I guess since the date and time settings were correct, the battery, the CMOS battery that's in here, is holding a good charge, so that's good. So I guess that's just an old battery chilling in there. There's a decent amount of dirt on here, but that's expected from any well-used system. Okay. There's that. Now, normally I would have a microfiber cloth that I would wipe this down with after everything else gets wiped off, but I misplaced it, and I can't find it, so we are not going to use the microfiber cloth today. Oh well. But pretend that I wiped this down with a microfiber cloth after I did everything else. I do like how compact the X250 is, and the other, like, X240 to X270 ThinkPads. Like, they're just so compact. Not as compact as, like, the X61, but, like, they feel nice. They're nice. I don't like the shrunken down keyboards that much. Having only one DIMM slot is kind of annoying. However, it's better than the X280 onwards that don't have any DIMM slots. They just have soldered RAM. And that is why I would not in my right mind recommend an X280 or an X390 to anybody, because it's all soldered on. Any musical theater fans out there? I think I asked this, but I didn't really check my messages. Or check the chat. If you're a musical theater fan, you like Stephen Sondheim, I have Stephen Sondheim stuck in my head. If you don't know who Stephen Sondheim is, you've probably heard his music before. Okay. I'd say that's pretty clean. Now I'm just going to very quickly wipe out this interior. Not doing a very thorough job because it's not super dirty to begin with. Okay, it is a little dirty, as indicated by the dirt that is coming up with. This is the very quick and dirty way of cleaning a ThinkPad, is just paper towel. I'll go back and do a more thorough job of this later. It's just a little bit dirty right now, and I want it to be somewhat clean when I'm running or installing Windows on here. I'm a little disappointed this does not have the fingerprint reader, but it's not a huge downside. It's just a minor annoyance, inconvenience, I guess. And not everyone uses it anyway, so it's fine. Okay. I just need to... I'm going to get a new cloth for the screen. I try to use reusable cloths whenever possible, because I don't want to be wasteful with the paper towels, but sometimes you clean these things and enough gunk gets off that it's like, okay, this is disgusting. Plus paper can be recycled pretty easily. Cloth, maybe? Maybe not? I don't know. It's funny, it's the back of the screen is hitting the keyboard and it's hitting the space bar. So it's making the screen scroll. Okay. Just gonna do the hinges real quick. The very bottom of the bezel. Just a quick little thing. Okay. Now we have a nice clean laptop. Well, sort of clean. So, now I have my Windows flash drive here. Gonna pop it in. Turn the computer on. And we're gonna get Windows installed on here. And 64-bit. This is very much 64-bit. And now it's just gonna install Windows. So I'm gonna answer a few of the questions, and then we're gonna call it a day because I have some other stuff I have to do today. So, for the X250, would you recommend used OEM batteries or aftermarket? Well, the X250 is new enough that you can still find genuine new OEM batteries for a pretty cheap price. So, while you still can, I would go with the genuine new ones. But in the future, eventually, you won't be able to get new batteries, and then aftermarket's your only option. So by that point, right now I would say get an OEM battery, because they're pretty easy to find. But as time goes on, it may become necessary to switch to aftermarket batteries. I'm actually kind of curious what display this is. I accept the license terms. Install Windows only, and off to the races. So while it's doing that, I'm going to type in the model number of this display. It's a LG one. LP125 WH2 PPH1. That is definitely a ThinkPad display. 1360 6x768. And I'm guessing based off the very cheap price that it's a TN panel. Doesn't say anything about it being an IPS, and they're dirt cheap, so I guess it's a TN panel. So that's good. So we didn't downgrade the display by replacing it, but this one is very obviously cracked. So, and bent too. So it seems like the X250 is it's still a little, the display is still a little bit bent, or at least the housing is, but I think if I just I might just put some other ThinkPads on top of it to straighten it out. That might work, honestly. Now that the bottom cover is on, it doesn't appear to be that the bottom half was bent. It was just how thin the plastic was. It was warping around. This top part is still, if I can show you, alright, come on. Get up there. If you look, you can maybe see that it's a little bit bent here, just at the very end there. But I think it might be possible to bend it back. Hopefully without breaking the screen. Again, this is why I was trying to do that before I installed the screen, because I don't want to risk breaking the new one. But worst comes to worst, I might just get some other heavy ThinkPads and just stack them on top of this, and maybe that'll straighten it out. I don't know. But the screen itself doesn't seem to be bent, so that's good. So, I'm going to put this on the screen back. I'm just going to read a few of your comments, and then we're going to end this live stream. Take this off the tripod so I can read your comments better. Not in the best shape, but no big gouges. As soon as the plastic is cleaned and rehydrated, it will look great. And I think it already looks great right now, other than this worn-out touchpad. Other than that, it looks fantastic. Good for ThinkPads. I've seen the ones for $90, but can't bring myself to pay that when I can get my 170-watt adapters for something. Do they sell computers at Goodwill? Yeah, they sell a ton of them online, but it's very hit or miss at the stores. There used to be a dedicated computer Goodwill in Pittsburgh, but they closed it and converted it to a regular Goodwill. Oh yeah, the W700 and 701 power adapters are really difficult to find. I actually found one on eBay that is for a standard, or for a different Lenovo device, and it actually worked with the W700. But yeah. Has anyone done the 13-inch screen mod to the X250? I think somebody's actually done that before. I think somebody has done the 13-inch X250 mod. but they haven't made like a custom bezel for it. They're literally dremeling out the bezel to make it nice. Does the X250 not have the tiny piece of plastic from the snap piece that goes under the hinge? Not sure what you're talking about. Sup? T450 and later is solder, I think. Yeah. T440P, W540, W541, T540P, and L440 are the last ones that have a socketed processor. Replacing the palm rest on X240, you're basically replacing the entire laptop. I actually did do that when I upgraded my X240 to, when I upgraded my X240, the video I made a year ago, I replaced the entire palm rest with an X250 palm rest because that was cheaper than buying a new touchpad and keyboard. So, in that video, I kind of already outlined the process on replacing the palm rest. Did you ever do the Nitrocaster mod on an X220, X230? I have not done the Nitrocaster mod. I've thought about doing it, but it's a little bit difficult, and the brightness controls can be finicky sometimes, so I just haven't messed with it. Jared, I am on iPhone. X1 Carbon looks pretty sweet. Yeah, you're right. What are you studying for? Music stuff, you know? It's great. L470 for $170, that's not bad. And I think the rest of these I did read. So, yeah, Windows is going to finish installing now, and I'm going to end this live stream because I have some other stuff to do. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and as always, thank you for watching.